Jar Jar is the new sensation this week, selling out in several comic stores. Who can believe that? That Jar Jar is the seller of the week. Isn't that crazy? Anyway, let's talk about this brand new Jar Jar. Let's get right into it.
Welcome to the Den, the Dingus Den.
All right, we are here to talk about the new Star Wars one-shot called Jar Jar. It's crazy to think we live in a day and age where Jar Jar gets his own one-shot, and from both of our experiences, it's been selling out at stores. I got lucky when I messaged my comic store, and I asked for this cover specifically, and they were like, you got the last one. And they had one other left on their shelf after they pulled this one for me.
I was looking for another specific variant cover, and I can't find it anywhere.
It's crazy.
But yeah, crazy. This thing is selling out. I'll tell you what upsets me about this book. Okay. And you may find this very hard to believe. I don't dislike Jar Jar. I don't dislike Jar Jar. He's just not a favorite character. However, what I dislike is that this is only a one-shot. Because it leaves it just drops off, and you're like, well, wait, what?
You know, that's fair. It very much reads like we could get more, which is very interesting. Yeah, well, let's get into it.
But it's co-written by the man himself.
Yes, his first ever comic writing credit ever, Ahmed Best, and co-written by Marc Guggenheim, which I believe he's the one who does all the Jedi Knights.
He hasn't done all of them, but he has done some.
Some of them.
He did some Jedi. He did some Jedi Knights. He's done some stuff with DC. He's done some stuff with Marvel.
Sure.
He's done some stuff on High Republic.
Okay.
Cool. He's got a pedigree. The artist also it has, her Laura Braga. She's got a bibliography of artwork that is nothing to sneeze at. She's drawn quite a bit.
Nice. I see there's another artist here as well, Kieran McKeown. Yeah, I'm gonna guess is how you say that. But yeah, I think they did a really good job on the art. I didn't realize right offhand when reading through that it was necessarily two artists that worked on it. I think their styles, like now that I'm looking back through it, I can see that there's two, but I think they complemented each other well in this one shot.
Yeah, very well. But yeah, Ahmed Best co-wrote it. So not only does he get to write the character he played in the movies, he got to write his other character, the Jedi Knight Kalaran Beck.
That's so cool.
And it's so funny that in essence, throughout most of this comic book, that he's talking to himself, if you want to put it like that.
Essentially. Well, it's cool because it makes me seem like I have no idea how this came about, but it very much reads of like Ahmed Best is a very passionate Star Wars fan, and he's somebody that's lucky to have portrayed two roles, which, especially the story of Jar Jar, right? Like, hated. I think he's way overhated. I think he's personally an underrated character because of how overhated he is. Like, I really don't think he's that bad of a character. I think he's quite an enjoyable character, honestly. Can he be annoying at a couple moments of time? Absolutely. But does that make him a bad character? No. You know? And so I like me some Jar Jar for as much hate as that will get me. But
he was annoying, but he's meant to be annoying.
Sure. Yeah, he was built to be the comedic relief for the children, you know? He was meant to be
Right.
what the children latch on to in a freaking movie that's all about, Trade Federation blockades and crap,
Yeah.
you know?
Yeah.
Full of a bunch of crap that children don't give a crap about, you know?
Yeah.
Or when the lightsabers went on, Jar Jar is meant to be the focus. So, but and so, you know, obviously Jar Jar is such a well-known character for better or worse. And then we got to see and then also the adventure of how his other character, Keller and Beck, came to be is really cool as well, because that's a character that originally came from the uh, Jedi Temple, whatever that kid series is called. There's a Jedi that was originally built for that he played, where he played like the host of that show essentially. And then his character got canonized.
Jedi Temple Challenge.
Jedi Temple Challenge, yes. And then his character got canonized in The Mandalorian. And do you know, because you read a lot more of these modern Star Wars comics than me, is this that character's first ever comic appearance?
I'm pretty sure it is.
And so, but yeah, it's not a big character by any stretch, other than like when he was in Mandalorian, because we got revealed in season 3 that, oh, his character plays a really important role that we have yet to fully learn all of. And this story does kind of, in a way, lay some foundation for that too, which is interesting, right? As we're starting to learn more of these pieces are slowly coming together. But the point is, I was getting to all this though, is there's these two characters that Ahmed Best has been able to play, and he's obviously such a big fan. And this reads like one big fan story of like, what if the two characters that he held close to his heart were able to meet with each other and, you know, have this cool adventure together, which is cool. And so I'm really curious about how this completely came about, but to me, it feels like a story where he was like, I have a comic I want to write with these two characters I specifically played. And Marc Guggenheim probably was more there in a role to help him shape it to be a proper comic than something that, you know, writing a comic can be difficult. And it's important that you have, especially for your first ever full comic, especially a comic at a publisher, big publisher like Marvel or DC, that somebody's there to help you, you know, form how to make a comic. And so Marc Guggenheim was probably just there more just to help him be like, yeah, this is kind of how you shape the story into being a proper comic.
Yeah, you know, I need to back up a minute.
Yeah.
I'm starting, I seem to, like, in the back of my head, I'm thinking, wasn't he in another comic book?
Yeah, I don't know.
I'm starting to wonder. I think he was in at least one of the Jedi Knights books.
I'm doing a quick Google search.
Because I remember certainly this couldn't have been my imagination. There's a Jedi Knight that he rescues.
So, okay, here's what it shows. Okay, but it's very light, it looks like. What Star Wars fandom says here is he appears in issue 1 as a vision to Obi-Wan Kenobi. He then appears in issue 8 in flashbacks, and then he appears in issue 10 as it says appears in imagination. So none of those sound like proper comic appearances.
Yeah, now the one I'm thinking of, I don't remember Obi-Wan being all part of it. I remember this Jedi Knight, a young Jedi Knight. It was, I know it was a girl. It had to have been a girl. And this is not something, can't be something I dreamed.
Looks like issue 8 was the main issue that Keller and Beck appeared in, because I'm seeing pictures of him. There's a bunch of covers of him on issue 8 of that. So this looks to be his second main appearance, from what I can tell. At least main role in a story that he has.
Let's see.
So, but yeah.
This is Man, now I am.
Well, I want to get
Suna Taj is her name. Okay.
What are you looking at?
There we go. Okay, so Suna Taj is a Jedi. I did not make this up. She's fighting off pirates, and she is rescued by Jedi Master Kalaran Beck. See, I did not imagine this.
Good to know.
It's in the Wikipedia article for Jedi Knights number 8. I knew I was not imagining that. Okay.
Anyway.
So no, this is not his first appearance, but this is his first, shall we say, starring role.
Maybe. I don't know his inclusion in that, but sure. We could say something like that. It's cool to see the character get slowly elevated, though.
He takes up a lot more of this story than he did those others.
Okay, fair enough. So first off, it begins where we see Jar Jar traveling to Urubai.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know if is this a place that we've seen before? Do you remember?
No, this is OG planet.
So he's on a one of those special
OC planet. That's what I was trying to say.
Okay. Yeah. Got you. So he has he's on one of those special like Naboo ships. And I love the name of the ship here. Called the Hey Blibber Duck. I love it. Absolutely something that Jar Jar would be riding on, the Hey Blibber Duck. And so anyway, he arrives in this city and he gets lost because it's a freaking Jar Jar. What else? So somebody that's
the pilot's like, you want me to help? He's like, no, I got this. And then
he's like, got this.
2 minutes later, he's already lost, gets mugged.
Yeah. He starts trusting and talking to somebody with an eye patch that obviously gives you vibes of like, this guy's not a good guy. But because it's Jar Jar, he's going to trust this guy and follow him. But then the guy runs off because he gets terrified. And that's where we then run into Killer and Beck here that saves Jar Jar. And he's like, okay, Jar Jar, let me show you something. And so that's where he then shows Jar Jar on the planet this whole like mining operation that's happening. And he talks about like it's called the Unseen here that's working. And this story is titled The Unseen as well. Like this is an important part of the whole story here.
Yeah.
And so
I mean, you're basically talking about slave laborers here.
Yeah, essentially saying that they're being overworked, getting not just coaxium, but they're finding some other stuff, as well as finding the special material that'll be used to specifically for secret transmissions. Like talking about this, like this is it's called oh my gosh, I don't know how to say this. Cyfristal. I may have completely butchered however that's said. But it's a special type of crystal that can form the basis of a fractal radio network, which this is an interesting thing too of, there's all these sci-fi isms to Star Wars, and despite it being ultimately a space fantasy, that's how I view Star Wars. It's a space fantasy, but you have a bunch of sci-fi elements to it, right?
Princess Leia is not impressed by our talking about Jar Jar.
No. She's like, why don't you just talk about me, Anyway, I find it interesting, though, with what I can remember of other Star Wars stories I've read, I can't really think of anything where these talk of radio frequencies is like a major point for it, right? Like,
yeah, I'm wondering, like, what is this going to lead into?
Yeah, it's interesting because like we there is stuff where we hear like stuff about like intercepted transmissions, right? But like we don't hear anything about like the different kinds of networks, and the fact that there's a whole secret network here. We don't really hear, and the fact that that's the forefront here is really interesting and laying the foundation for as this is set in the era of the Republic here. do we know exactly when this is set in the grand timeline of things?
It's like right at the beginning of the Clone Wars.
Because the emergency,
Jar Jar just proposed the Chancellor should have emergency war powers.
Right, and that's what happens at like what the end of
and this is like this whole book is about the consequences of that proposal.
Right. So, and we're now seeing how people are like suspecting that there's more things going on. Specifically, Keller and Beck here, who kind of had this feeling of other things happening, which is interesting. Like, it'd just be so interesting to try to like learn more of his character. Like, knowing that he was in that Jedi Knight story has me kind of curious to like know. It has me curious to read that. So I'm gonna have to go to Marvel Unlimited and check those out. But we then meet this chick in the mine who's working on stuff, and turns out that she has a couple bounty hunters on her, as she's somebody that's
yep. And then we do meet up with those bounty hunters. And,
we do.
a little excitement going on in the book.
Yeah, these bounty hunters, they're both ones that appeared in episode 1. More notably is Aura Singh, which I remember she was, I'm not gonna say prominent in episode 1, but like she had a moment where you could easily be like, oh, she has her like brief moment to shine in that movie, very brief, but like she's there, and then she has a bigger spotlight in Clone Wars. But then we also get somebody named Rumslag. Rumslag here, who I don't remember this character. I looked him up. Internet tells me that he's in episode 1. I'm seeing a screenshot from episode 1, but it seems like he's just like a random character that ever briefly just is like snaps he's there and then he's gone. And he somehow also got a figure made. And I'm like, I don't ever remember seeing him. And so, anyway, we can get these two bounty hunters together. Creates for fun action. Getting to see Keller Beck actually in action. It's a lot of fun seeing it's solid action that it brings, as Jar Jar is there the entire time. And Jar Jar the entire time too, like they write Jar Jar exactly how Jar Jar is meant to be. Like anytime Jar Jar says stuff, like, oh, this is a beep, I'm bad. Like I just read it like exactly as he's voiced, His voice just goes through my head and everything, which is awesome. And yeah, it's pretty fun. It was a fun story. It was a shot.
It was surprisingly a lot better than I thought it was going to be.
Yeah, I would agree with that. And I think part of that just shows that you could tell Ahmed Best just had a really fun, solid idea at the end of the day, and I think that shows through in the final.
That surprise cameo at the end is like, what?
Yeah, we learn. We learn at the end there that it's Mira. I don't know how you say her name. Mira Bridger. And the moment I read that page, I didn't even finish reading the book. The moment I read that page or that panel, I was like, I immediately texted you and I was like, is that Ezra's mom? Holy cow. Because like I don't know, like, has she appeared in things? Like,
I think outside of Rebels, this is the first time I've seen her mentioned.
Yeah, because it's like I don't remember if she was like, I don't even think she really even showed up in Rebels, did she? Like she was just mentioned.
Fall where they're going to send her.
Yeah. So it's very interesting to get that foundation and learning like, oh, we're gonna have to do this. Jar Jar gets to speak with Palpatine. And that was a quite an interesting conversation. It ends with Tyler Beck and Jar Jar making a deal, as it seems like they're teaming up with each other for, in a way, very beginnings of the rebellion, as their their Nito network, like the Unseen that they're talking about, that's very secretive, and so it's interesting. Right. It's interesting ideas here that's happening while the very beginning of the Clone Wars is going on, and that it's crazy to think that Jar Jar, like, especially, like, you remember in season 1, how there's that episode of Clone Wars where it's like Jar Jar on like that swamp world and he's just being an absolute dum-dum. Like, like, I know that was also early on in the Clone Wars, But it's crazy to think that, like, also since this reads like it's possibly before that, it's crazy to think that Jar Jar knew about all this bad stuff that was possibly going to come, or at least knew that things were a lot worse than they really were. And we see him there blubbering around like an absolute ding dong in that episode, which is crazy to think.
Well, it's like, it's almost like that Superman Clark Kent mentality where you're like,
oh yeah,
just be a complete idiot so they don't suspect you of anything.
Yeah, exactly. And it's crazy too that we like maybe I would love to see more of I want to see more of where this story is going. I hope there's more.
I do. I wish this was not just a one shot. I'd really like to see.
Yeah, I agree because it really sounds because that's the thing too is it doesn't even say like the end or to be continued. It says the beginning.
Yeah.
And so I want to know more of what's happening here. Like it's just so intriguing to.
Maybe it's going to continue in a different book.
Yeah. Well, that's the thing is even though this is a very fun
maybe there's going to be a Kalaran Beck one shot.
That would be cool. I was going to say of how the story read, very much, even though it marks as a beginning, it definitely does feel like at the end of the day, a one and done Jar Jar story. Like Jar Jar doesn't necessarily need to be any more of this, you know?
Yeah.
And so I'm just excited to see what else could come from this, honestly. And that's crazy to think like it all stems from a story titled Jar Jar. And it's just the world we live in.
Yeah,
I love
Jar Jar fans are going to love this.
Yeah.
And I mean, even if you're not, just read it. It's fun.
It is. It is. It's, you know, it can be very easily overwhelming with the amount of comics and comics connecting to other things, and you can just get lost easily. Like, we literally just recorded a Cyclops video, and we're confused about some parts of that. I want to know exactly why, go check out the video. But this, though, it's a really nice, you can pick it up, read it, and you don't really need to know anything other than main Star Wars lore knowledge, you know? And so,
I mean, is somebody that's not a Star Wars fan going to read this?
Exactly.
Probably not.
Exactly. If you like Star Wars, go check out Jar Jar. I don't know what else to say.
Exactly. I don't know what else to tell you because
exactly. Look at Jar Jar. Speaking of Star Wars, though, you do a Star Wars thing.
I do.
You do? I think you
do. I talk Star Wars every once in a while,
Yeah. What exactly is that thing?
That would be Rebel Nerd Radio.
Nice.
Where we live stream every Tuesday at 7 p.m. Eastern Time. We have been doing a Starships of the Galaxy series. We're actually taking a break from that. And next week, we're actually doing something that is not Star Wars content. We don't do that very often on our live streams. We don't do that very often, but we're doing something that is not Star Wars. So yeah, you can check that at just go to bio.link/RebelNerdRadio. In addition to the Star Wars stuff that we do, we have comic book series, ranging everything from Batman to Superman to the X-Men. Every once in a while, we do a Daredevil thing, and
nice, very cool. Lots of cool stuff over on Rebel Nerd Radio. Make sure you go hit that like and subscribe button. Not just here, but also for Rebel Nerd Radio. Link to your link tree will be down below, so make sure you check out Rebel Nerd Radio, not just here on YouTube, but all the other cool platforms and socials. All the other stuff they post around there. So, go support. And yeah, make sure you come back here for more Dingus Den content where there'll be more comic reviews, Smallville reviews, comic creator interviews, and some comic and some voiced comics.
We'll be doing some stuff.
Yeah, we do have some stuff happening too. Possibly the return of another series as well. So you know what? Make sure you check that out. I'm a busy person with all this Dingus Den stuff and other stuff I do too. Since I'm talking about it, check out the Tabletop Lounge, where I also do run a D&D game, which is like my big passion project as well. So make sure you go check that out. So anyway, this has been a great time talking about Jar Jar, which are words that I didn't think I'd be saying out of my mouth, but here we are. So without further ado, that's it for us today from the Dingus Den, and we'll see you next time. Cheers, everyone. Bye.